we have discussed this 3-year-old crop and how we both believe we may not have seen the best yet, that there is going to be more coming out of this crop because, yes, nice performance in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Awesome job by you out there, Ted Noffey. After that, we kind of need somebody to build off of. Bill Mott said, hey, let me tell you about a couple I got in my barn. Over last Saturday, race number 4 at Gulfstream Park, Chief Wallabee debuts. Race number 7, Thunderously debuts. Both get 100-plus numbers on time form. Chief Wallabee, an 88 buyer, comes back. Mr. Halterman, what do we think about Thunderously and Chief Wallabee?
Well, I think let's start with Chief Wallabee. I don't know about you. I was the most impressed by him. He debuted in a race going one turn. By the way, debut runners for Bill Mott, they don't usually win. Now, it's not impossible. Some of them do, but they don't usually win. Think about Sovereignty. He debuted, and he finished 4th in his first ever race. Then he lost again before he actually went on to win. So Bill Mott's not one of these guys that gets him to fire right out of the gate. He builds them up slowly, and then you see what happens when he gets a great horse like Sovereignty. Chief Wallabee missed the break. Looked like he was going to run a typical Bill Mott maiden where they run on a little bit, run like 3rd or 4th. And you go, okay, well, next time out. And then I'm telling you what, in the stretch of this race, he was trying to run down a horse named the Puma, who was a pretty good horse. Not only did he run him down, Mike, he absolutely blew by him. And Junior Alvarado had his hands up like this, meaning he was just on a stranglehold. He was really not asking him for a whole lot, and he just blew right by. So I was super impressed with Chief Wallabee. He was number 1 for me. Thunderously was good, too. The thing about Thunderously that's good, that was a 2-turn race. They went a mile and a 16th. He finished up pretty nicely. Visually, it wasn't as strong, I would say, as what Chief Wallabee was, but he was still dominating down the stretch. I mean, he pulled away from those horses. So 1A and 1B is how I would describe them. But yeah, they were both very impressive.
Thunderously went a mile and 16th, as you mentioned, on debut.
Yeah.
Bill Mott has debuted 44 horses in the last 5 years over a mile. How many do you think had won?
I'm going to go with, including Thunderously, I'll go with 4.
1. It was Thunderously. That was the first time in 5 years he's had a debut horse win going over a mile. That tells you how much talent is there. Wow. I agree with you, though. Chief Wallabee was freaking awesome. Like, I cannot tell you how impressed. I immediately texted multiple people, said, hey, is this horse available in future odds in the Derby? The fact that Chief Wallabee did not get asked that entire race, and that it was like, if you go back and you watch it, they went 22:45. Pretty good fractions for 7 furlongs. Alvarado was chilly on this horse around the far turn. He knew he was loaded the entire time. Shakes the reins, asks for a little bit top of the stretch, and Chief Wallabee's like, yep, I got that, and just spurts through. That is like, to have a 3-year-old on debut going 7 furlongs who is quote-unquote push button is so freaking rare. And this horse was awesome. Chief Wallabee is 40-1 at Caesars to win the Derby. You any interest?
I think I would have interest in that horse at that price. I've always said about Derby futures, the one thing you do not want to do is take a horse now that's going to be longer odds on the first Saturday in May. That is how you want to throw up when the first Saturday in May comes along. If he progresses like we think, he's not going to be 40-1 on Derby Day, right? He's going to be 10-1, 15.
If he makes the gate, he'll be 8-1 or less.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. And so I was going to say 10-1. You say 8-1. Same difference, basically. So, yeah, look, I would take him. Now, the quotes after the race aren't surprising to me. Bill Mott said, we're not rushing him. Well, we know that with Bill Mott. That's not going to happen. So you're probably going to see him kind of run an allowance race next, and then maybe the last round of Kentucky Derby prep races, take the shot and try to get in. It may work out. It may not, right? But here's the thing we know. Bill Mott will get the horse ready to run the biggest race at the biggest time. And so if this horse has it in him and things fall right, he's going to be a shorter price than 40-1 on the first Saturday in May. And we've talked about it over and over and over on this show. We're waiting for somebody to jump up. Maybe this horse isn't as good as Ted Noffey. Maybe he can't beat him, but it feels like this is finally a potential rival that we're seeing in some of these maiden special weight races.
Yeah, when Noffey's sitting there at 8-1, 7-1, 6-1, and you've got Chief Wallabee at 40-1. I'll take Chief Wallabee, who, by the way, Constitution out of Maglodoro. Distance not going to be a problem. No issue there going long. We should at least mention the Puma, Gustavo Delgado, Major's trainer, Javier Castellano, Major's rider, debuts and runs second to Chief Wallabee, who we were both very high on, really in a race of their own. Chief Wallabee gets an 88 buyer. The Puma gets an 85. Third place got a 67. They dusted the rest of that field as the Puma was 9 lengths clear of everybody else. Any interest in the Puma going forward?
Yeah, yes. Going forward, yes. Like Kentucky Derby, no. I think he's 1 to 5, probably in his next maiden special weight, and it will probably win. And I think we'll get on the Derby trail. Let's keep an eye on him, right? Because here's the deal: if Chief Wallabee kind of runs like a normal Mott, let's say, and gets third and just kind of finishes up nicely, we're talking about the Puma and going crazy about him because, like you said, those 2 horses just absolutely dusted everybody else, which again kind of just gives more of credence to what Chief Wallabee did, that he beat a horse that dusted everybody else, and then he dusted that horse. So it was crazy. But so yeah, no, long story short, you should have interest in the Puma. I think he's going to be just fine. He was bet down to favoritism, like he was the hyped horse, and he ran well. So, and like I said, Mage trainer, Mage jockey, I think is even the same owner, Mike. So feels like this is a horse that definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah, and Central Quality Decawar, top and bottom. No distance, no problem. I think the Puma is in stakes race. I think Delgado's more aggressive with the Puma than you're going to see Mott be with Chief Wallabee, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a stakes next time out for the Puma. Just so everyone knows, Halogen, a $425,000 Todd Pletcher, and Nanosecond, a homebred for Windstar Farms for Todd Pletcher, Into Mischief on the top, Spice Sun on the bottom, also in that race. So it was a loaded maiden special weight there from Gulfstream Park. We're going to move forward here. But all 3 of those horses, Chief Wallabee, Thunderously, and the Puma, put them on your radar. Let's see what they do down there in Florida moving forward from there. So Happy gets the job done at Santa Anita, looking awesome in the San Vicente. You can check that box. You went 2 for 2 in your best bets last weekend, so props to you there. I went 2 for 2 in horses missing the break. Still should have won one of the races. The other never had a chance. Did have So Happy, though, and I was very happy to have this horse who I think is your classic. I'm a really good sprinter, but we might try 2 turns because we have Derby fever type horse.
So 1,000% what's going to happen. And by the way, it was a great pick. And you were right. I mean, and you said, look, this is a horse that's really bred to do this, talking about the 7 furlong race. And it kind of looked it down the stretch. He just had more. He got engaged a little bit quicker. He was just a little quicker. And Butane, who finished second, looks like a horse that needs to go a little bit longer. You're right. They're going to try to stretch this horse out. I don't know how that's going to work. They have Derby fever. You could tell after the race, like with the comments from, Mark Glatt, that they want to get him on the Derby trail. Let's see what happens because look, Southern California, we don't really know what Baffert's going to do what at what time. Maybe he can steal, talking about So Happy, a mile in a 16th race. I just don't think past that we're going to see this horse at its best. So, but hey, it was a great pick by you, and it was a very strong effort. I mean, look at a race like the Pat Day Mile, which is a 1 mile race on Kentucky Derby Day for 3-year-olds. That feels like that race is made for So Happy. And maybe eventually that's where he gets to. But maybe he's not a Derby horse, but I certainly, keep him on your radar. I think a 96 buyer was very, very strong.
Yeah, I think this is a horse that wins graded level sprints second half of the year after they unfortunately try and go. Mile 16 is absolutely the longest this horse can go. And I'm not even sure we can get a mile on 16. So I think that the Pat Day Mile makes a ton of sense. You don't see Glatt shipped to Saratoga a lot, so we may not get this horse in some of those grade 1 7 furlong races. That's where I would the Patch Adams route, right? The Bookham Dano route. That's what I see here for So Happy. But we'll see. We'll see if this is the route that they decide to take. But I do think So Happy officially our first horse we circle as a sprinter who is going to fall for Derby fever and probably then be underrated.